We love all footy and 3AW's coverage of the greatest game on earth. Remember that you can listen to 3AW Football's pre-game, post-game and highlights anytime wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for 3AW is Football and subscribe so you don't miss all the best bits. The 3AW Football Podcast is proudly brought to you by Tab.
I've been talking on the show today about the story I broke last week that a tent city had emerged at Musgrave Park in West End. So concerned were the Greek community that they nearly cancelled the Panegyri Festival. The Brisbane Lord Mayor Adrian Schrinner came on this show a week ago and said that it's illegal to camp in a park in Brisbane, but because of the housing crisis going on, he was not going to relocate those homeless people. I said then that we're looking at a tent city situation. If you're not going to relocate people, more and more will go. Then the Courier Mail's broken this story today, that a Logan City Council park rangers or park ranger secretly relocated a number of homeless people to West End. Now, there's stories emerging since the publication that some of the people wanted to move to West End because in Musgrave Park, some of those people were getting permanent housing and word was getting around and they asked to move there. No matter what has happened here, it is unacceptable for any council to shift a housing problem and a homeless person problem onto another city council area. Darren Power is the Mayor of Logan. He's on the line. Mayor, thanks for your time this afternoon and thanks for coming on.
No worries, Brady.
Now, Adrian Schrinner is quoted today and has given us a statement as saying he's received assurance from the Logan Council this will never happen again. What has happened here, Mayor?
Okay, well, and can I say it looks bad from the outside, but when you're deep into this a little bit better, you find there's a bit of a human story here. What's happened is one of our park rangers was obviously getting into some sort of human relationship with these people because they were situated at a relocatable home site. And there's normally a 3-day stay, and these people had stayed longer than that, and he was making inquiries. And during the discussions, they had indicated to the park ranger that they would like to move to Musgrave Park, and that was their intention in doing that. Anyway, a day later, and they said they were moving there, and what actually happened was one of the people said they had a job in Brisbane starting on Monday as a truck driver. And as a result of that, they were finding it hard because they had so much stuff to move there that the officer decided to give them a lift. Now, that's not obviously council protocol. He did it on his own accord.
Did he use a council vehicle?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Was he authorised to do that? No matter how humanitarian, is he authorised to put homeless people in his council vehicle and take them and put them into Musgrave Park in a tent city? He wasn't taking them to a halfway house where they had a roof over their head. He was taking them to a park.
That's correct. And I'm not... Look, he knows he's in a bit of trouble, and I'll leave that to our CEO, but I can understand the compassion because they are relocating people from Musgrave Park, and Logan City hasn't got an outreach service here, nor have we got a homeless hub provided by the state government. The state government has been very low on the ground as providing services to Logan, and I can understand why people...
Doesn't the state treasurer live there and the federal treasurer?
That's correct. And we have been, we've made calls to the minister about providing a homeless hub to Logan. We've done that in the past, and we're obviously hoping for something in this coming budget because it's something we need. Council is providing financial support to local organisations that are helping these people as far as food hampers, laundry. We've got washing machines going out there to people in parks and so forth. We're trying to help these people, but there's nowhere to put them. But the officer, I mean, this is a one-off situation. The officer has never done this before. I can tell you now, Brenny, he won't be doing it again, but he thought he was actually doing these people a favour.
Do you know how many people are involved?
Yeah, there were 3 people. So they were in a party of 3.
Yep, they were in a party of 3. Okay.
Yeah, in the party of 3. And they obviously wanted to go to Musgrave Park because they heard there was better things offered there.
Yeah, they heard they weren't being moved on from Musgrave Park. That was the situation. Why were they being moved on from this relocatable homestay, which has a limit of a 3-day stay?
Well, it's for relocatable homes. They were in a tent. And it's a maximum stay of 3 days for any visitor. It's a relocatable park. People coming in and out of Brisbane and Gold Coast. And
who provides the park? The council?
Council.
Well, why can't you extend it beyond 3 days now, like the Lord Mayor has done for the people of Musgrave Park? So the situation is your council is punting people after 3 days, so old mate drives them up to the park where they're not getting punted.
That's not correct, Brenny. They were there for over 3 days, so they weren't getting punted. But there was obviously a communication thing. The park ranger took a human interest in their...
I understand that. Are there people there now who've been there longer than 3 days?
I couldn't tell you, Brenny.
Okay,
I really couldn't tell you. You'd have to go down there. It'd be a daily situation. But I know that we've got people in other parks.
Are you flexible about the 3 days?
I think. Look, I'm not going to advocate this because I don't want everyone from Gold Coast moving to here. But
you move. Your guy moved people to Brisbane, and you don't want the people from the Gold Coast moving to Logan.
No. Let's get this right, Brenny. They wanted to go. They requested. They asked. Okay. We could have been, look, if the officer was doing his job, he wouldn't have been compassionate and he wouldn't have given them a lift. He's taken a big risk. He's taken them there on his own accord, risking possibly getting sacked because he thought he was helping them out. And I will never, ever take offence to that because I think that guy probably deserves more credit than what he's due.
What if the Rangers? What if the Rangers of the Gold Coast started doing it with people there and taking them to your 3-day facility? You know what I mean? It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope.
Oh, look, this guy has been disciplined over the issue, okay? But I understand the situation. I think your listeners will understand the situation. He took a personal interest in these people. The guy was starting a job on Monday in Brisbane as a truck driver. We wouldn't have that information if he wasn't conveying that information with them.
Yeah.
So he's taken a passionate thing with this guy. And moved them because they wanted to go. Not because they didn't want to go there, because they wanted to go there. So he's taken them there. And he's risked his job. He's done, quite easily, the protocol has been broken at council. Okay, he's done the wrong thing.
Okay. I'm accepting it all. And I appreciate the fact that you fronted up Mayor Power because it's a big issue. It's running big on the Courier Mail's website, and I've been talking about homeless people since last week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Deservedly so.
Just before you go, Mayor, homeless people living in parks in Logan, have you got a big problem there, and are they allowed to live in a park, and are you moving them on?
Okay, so our rangers will talk to them and obviously try and direct them to obviously they need help. They're sitting in a park. They haven't got, in some instances, they haven't got facilities and that. So what they're doing is they're organising them to contact the state government in helping them finding proper homes for them. We do have some flexibility here. I'd rather not talk about it because but we do have flexibility. We've helped a lot of people out and we've turned a blind eye to quite a few things, but it's a big issue. It's going to get bigger. I don't know how the federal government's going to help the situation by allowing, another
715,000 migrants in 2 years.
How in the hell is it going to help this situation? I don't know. It's going to get to a point where something's going to have to be done because we can't build homes quick enough. I've got a home being built. I've been waiting over 2 years for that house to be built. How are we going?
Has it got the roof on?
Yes, it's got the roof on, but nothing inside. So
okay.
We're getting there. But what I'm saying is we're not building homes quick enough. We've been screaming out for the last 20 years about providing tradesmen. There's not enough tradesmen to build the homes.
No.
We've got to start getting into the schools and telling kids, hey, listen, you want to make a lot of money. You want to make more money than a lot of professions. Get to be a carpenter. Get to be a
exactly.
I just can't believe that we haven't been doing this, and now it's a huge problem.
Well, it was a cultural thing I spoke about. We're going off topic now, but I spoke about on the show yesterday, Mayor, where I was the last. I was in the crossover zone, finishing high school in the mid '80s. Before that, more kids left school before the end of grade 12 than finished grade 12. Then I was at the point where more kids were staying than leaving, and now all the kids are finishing year 12. So that, at year 10 or 11, you can go off and get a trade has kind of evaporated, and that's got us into the pickle. Hey, Mayor, I'll tell you something. So I've put some hard questions to you today, and the early poll from listeners is Lord Mayor 1, Neil Breen 0, because they support you and the officer. Humanity first, and all that sort of stuff. They support the guy for doing it. So there you go. That's the people voting with their text. Lord Mayor Power, thanks for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
Righto. I'm not going to admit defeat, but, this is my point. This is my point. You can't make this a practice, because then the next set of people say, we heard you could, and then the next set of people take you there. If the guy from the council, he took them to a park with a pup tent, he didn't take them to social housing project X in X Street, West End, where they had a roof over their heads. He just took them to another park. And that is where it looks very, very poor.
We love all footy and 3AW's coverage of the greatest game on earth. Remember that you can listen to 3AW Football's pre-game, post-game and highlights anytime wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for 3AW is Football and subscribe so you don't miss all the best bits. The 3AW Football podcast is proudly brought to you by Tab. Join me, Sam McClure, and former Richmond superstar, that's former Matthew Richardson, for a brand new podcast, Margin Call.
Every Wednesday, we'll look at what's bubbling away in the round ahead, casting our eyes over the teams, the big issues, and everything in between.
We won't have Yes No Richo, but there'll be plenty more to discuss as we get stuck into the 2023 AFL season.
Can we have a Tasmanian segment?
We'll have to discuss that one. Margin Call, out now. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Margin Call is brought to you by Tab. Download the app today. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.